Catholic Church, which calls itself traditional, is evidently holy because our founder is holy and she teaches a holy doctrine. 2, because she faithfully preserves and dispenses all the means of sanctification instituted by Christ. And 3, because there were in her at all times saints whose holiness God has also confirmed by miracles and extraordinary graces. Hello, welcome to the show The Truth Unveiled. I am your host, Father John Okerolu. Today, we shall ask, how can we find the Church of Christ today? Today, information is easy to come by, but the truth is difficult to get. There's so much falsehood, misinformation being peddled that for you to get the truth, a little more research is required. And in this case, is required to find the church Christ founded. We have already said that the church Christ founded is the Roman Catholic Church. So, ordinarily, one needs today to just get his cell phone and search for the nearest Roman Catholic church to him to go attend, to join, and belong, to become a member of. But it is not as easy anymore. Just like in the early church, the name Christian was usurped by heretics and schismatics who corrupted the true faith and rejected the infallible teaching authority of the church Christ founded, which necessitated St Ignatius of Antioch to give the name Catholic to the true church as a mark by which the true church can be distinguished from the false sects that arose. So also, a little more has to be done to find out where the true church is today, for the deception is greater now than ever. Now, the true church can be known by certain marks. The note or mark of Christ's church is an inseparable property of that church, easily visible and more clearly known than the church as it exists in the order of facts. The mark of Christ's church is an inseparable property, that is, a perfection which is in the church, always and necessarily and exclusively so that no other church has it in its entirety. The mark is easily visible, that is, the mark can be seen without great difficulty. The mark is so easily known that all men, even the unlearned, can find it with certainty if they use the diligence which a prudent man uses in the serious matters of life. The mark is more easily known than the church as it exists in the order of facts, otherwise it would be useless for finding the church. I'll give you an example. If I am trying to find the house which has the address 1492 Jefferson Street, I must know the address more clearly and distinctly than the house, or otherwise I cannot pick out that house from any other. So in trying to find the church Christ is founded, I must know clearly its address, that is to say, the marks, the properties that marks it out from every other. Now what are these marks? The true church of Christ may be known by these 4 marks. She is one, she is holy, she is Catholic, and she is apostolic. Now, why must the Church of Christ be one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic, you might ask? She must be one because no kingdom can stand that is divided against itself. Our Lord says in Luke 11, verse 17, she is holy because her founder is holy, and her object is to lead all men to holiness, to heaven. She is Catholic or universal because she has been established for all nations and for all times. Matthew 28, verse 19. And it's according to the promises of Christ and of the prophets to be spread over the whole universe. She is apostolic because her origin and her doctrine are apostolic. Ephesians 2, verse 20 and her rulers must be lawful successors of the apostles. At present, it is evident that no church has these formats except the Roman Catholic, which calls itself traditional, namely that church which acknowledges the Pope of Rome as her head. Note, acknowledges, not necessarily having in fact at present. The Roman Catholic Church, which calls itself traditional, evidently is one because she continues in the same faith, the same sacrifice, the same sacraments, and acknowledges a common head, even if at present it does not have one. These would be explained in another episode. Now, the Roman Catholic Church, which calls itself traditional, is evidently holy because her founder is holy and she teaches a holy doctrine. 2, because she faithfully preserves and dispenses all the means of sanctification instituted by Christ. And 3, because there were in her at all times saints whose holiness God has also confirmed by miracles and extraordinary graces. Abuses and failings of individual members cannot be imputed to the church herself because they did not arise from her doctrine or organization and were never approved of by her. If a church were no longer to be the true church on account of abuses and scandals met with in her, why then did Christ himself compare his church to a field in which wheat and cockle grow together, and to a net that contains both good and bad fishes? Matthew 18. And where then was the church in the days of the apostles? Where? For even then there were scandals. 1 Corinthians 11. Why, you might ask, is the Roman Church, which calls itself traditional, evidently Catholic or universal? It is evidently Catholic or universal because from the time of Christ, she has continually existed with the same teaching, the same priestly, and the same pastoral office as at the present time. 2, because she is spread over the whole universe. And 3, because she is constantly spreading in accordance with the divine commission. Go ye into the whole world and preach the gospel to every creature. Mark 16, verse 15. Therefore, the Roman Catholic Church, which calls itself traditional, evidently is Catholic and universal. The Roman Catholic Church, which calls itself traditional, is also evidently apostolic. Why is that? Because her origin is unquestionably traced back to the apostles. 2, because her doctrine is grounded on apostolic tradition. And 3, because her rulers, bishops and priests are successors of the apostles. All these assertions are to be diligently sought by the sincere inquirer. On this, your salvation depends. Christ founded one church. It is by belonging to that church that you can save your immortal souls. Negligence in this most sacred responsibility is forsaking your eternal salvation. Ponder and act on these. Stay tuned. This is the truth unveiled.